works for you, and how long should it last to keep you happy?
1 minute wasn't enough. Right now I have 3 children. Listen.
Get it in, get it out. Sex such a scary topic for us as traditional African women. Now, even Jesus was tempted. Y'all know Mary Magdalene washed that man's feet with some perfume or whatever. But he didn't take the bait.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Moda from Mama. We are happy to have you here. And today we're talking about how long should sex last?
So we're talking about length of time per session. We're talking about frequency. Okay, are we having sex every day? Are we having sex once a week? Are we having sex several times a week? We're also just, I guess it just encompasses in general the frequency of sex and what works for you within your relationship. Okay. Some people a 1 minute pow is good, right? For some people it's gotta be 2-3 hours. Okay. For some people it's gotta be like what works for you, and how long should it last to keep you happy within your relationship?
And how long have you been into this relationship too?
Yeah, that does make a big difference too.
Listen, when I was dating my husband, it was 1 minute wasn't enough. Right now I have 3 children. Listen.
Get it in, get it out. No, I hear you, sis. And it's funny, I had a professor tell me at college, they're like, oh, you young kids, because you don't have responsibilities. But it's true, okay, because you start a full-time job. Ain't nobody got time to be having hours long of sex, okay? It's an 8 hours out. I gotta go to work.
Especially here, because sometimes you have these couples who one is working at night, one is working during the day. We have different timings in our schedule. Yeah. So listen, you know, you're gonna have to work with what you have.
Right. And sex, as we said before in our previous videos, is an important part of a relationship. So we're not gonna just ignore it and wait for the one day when you can have. Because what if that doesn't come? Like you say, America's a working society. You're constantly working. It's not necessarily a Monday to Friday. People have jobs throughout the weekend. People have jobs morning, noon, and night. So how do we make sure as a couple we still connect? I think the first thing is to agree on what is sufficient for you both, right?
Yes.
Because maybe if we're in a relationship, for you, the 5 minutes is good, but maybe for me, if it doesn't hit 45 minutes, it's not okay, right? So we have to kind of find a middle ground, a compromise for these people. What can we get along with, right? And the quality of it too, right? Like you said, now with kids, sometimes maybe that 2 seconds in the closet real quick is not so bad. It's still a little quality loving. Whereas in the beginning, like before we had my son, listen, you got the whole house to yourself, honey. Okay?
You know?
From when you clock out on Friday to when you go back to work on Monday is on and popping. You can't do that anymore.
Right now. And wait until the second one comes along. Listen, you'll be like, listen.
See, maybe one can babysit the other. I don't know. Keep themselves busy. Another thing that I kind of find infringes on this thing of frequency or length of time is the man, though, because I mean, whether you like it or not, it's if you are in a heterosexual relationship, it starts and ends with the dude, right? If it's up, it's on and popping. If it's not up, it's done. What you gonna do? Unless you're a person who's gonna pleasure yourself, at the end of the day, will start and end with your guy. So this is the part where, like you said, communicate with each other, learn each other's triggers, learn what turns each other on, learn what keeps your person going, right? Now, what about the obligation of sex? Do you think that affects how much sex you have or how long your sex lasts, so to speak?
And when we talk about obligations, what are we exactly talking about?
I think as an African woman, unfortunately, a lot of times traditional, don't come for me, sisters, I meant as a traditional African woman, a lot of times you're expected to give it up, period, when the man wants, right? But it's very infrequent that the traditional African woman can walk up to her man and say, listen, it's about that time, bro, I need it, right? Or else you're looked at in a kind of way.
Yeah. So then does that come to be like, how should you initiate it? What it is that how do you communicate to your partner, telling them, this is, I need it now? Is that what we're talking about now?
It's part of it. I will say, like I've seen on Facebook when you have some posts about sex, right? And I've seen where they're like, oh my God, like their comments are like, oh, it's like we can't discuss this. I'm like, sister, but you're a grown-ass woman with children. So 1, you're not a virgin. 2, you know exactly what sex is. And 3, why is sex such a scary topic for us as traditional African women? We are the birth mothers. We come from the essence, the beginning of life. Why are we not able to discuss how the life does come to be?
That tells you how much, traditions and growing up and the habits and what you grew up seeing really affects us.
Yes.
Because even for us, we really have to break it, like break this chain saying, no, this is not the way we should approach things. We want to have a different perspective because we've realized it's important for us to talk to our children about these things. Don't you think?
And that's what I was going
to say. And so if you're still hiding behind cultural or Christian values and all that, you know.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a breakthrough.
Those cultural values will not be there in the decision making when your child is faced with a situation of to have sex or not to have sex. That's for obligation. I think it should go both ways, man or woman. If I am obligated to my partner to give it up whenever he wants it, he should be just as obligated to me.
Of course.
That's all I'm saying. There's nowhere where it says I give it up and you just sit and chill, honey. No. We're both giving it up equally. We're both compromising. There's times I'm not with it. I'm tired. Okay, I'm stressed. I'm just not in the mood. But listen, if my man is in the mood, then there I go. Because when I'm in the mood, he better be ready to go.
That's what I'm saying. Compromise, guys. It's partnership in this thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is all we have.
Again, this COVID times, what do we have other than getting closer, learning your person, bringing the family together? There's a lot of panic everywhere. There's a lot of stress everywhere. There's a lot of uncertainty. So what better way to connect than make sure you and your boo are like, okay. So one other thing I was going to talk about is exploring, right? There's the people who are into it and they try new different things. So not only does it prolong the actual act, right? The whole situation of sex, because sex doesn't necessarily begin from, the penetration.
No, yeah.
From foreplay and the loving on each other and getting each other. So for those who are willing to explore, and again, exploration is different for everybody, right? There's some people where exploring is simply wearing a negligee, and I don't mean simply as in it's not sufficient. I just mean it's not as complicated.
Right.
And there's some people who it's about watching a movie. For people, it's about driving on location and trying different places.
Yes.
I mean, me and husband, we've been known to find ourselves a little nice hotel, okay, just to change the scenery and change the mood. And honey, when I get there, I get there.
That's what I'm saying.
But it works for us and it keeps us going, right? And that's when you need to know your partner. He knows for me, if he sets the thing, if he picks me up from work and packs a little bag and we can go for the weekend. It's gonna be a good weekend. So, do you think religion though also affects the exploration aspect of it?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time, because for some reason, that topic, sex in itself, is like, oh my gosh, is the last thing that you'd expect a Christian to talk about.
How many people in the church cheat? Have you seen recently that Justin Bieber's pastor just cheated for I don't know how long? Very handsome man, but again, he didn't go for no holy Christian looking woman. Okay.
And that is a problem. That is a problem because the wife is very conservative. She is all this. And then you look at the God that you'll be like,
And don't you expect the pastor's wife to look how the pastor's wife looks, right? Because as a pastor's wife, here you cover up and you're decent and you present the church. And then, but here is this man who has urges. I don't know about him. I'm not picking his side. I'm just speculating as an outsider. I mean, if his urge was to run to the woman that looked like that, his wife is very beautiful. Why can't he just speak to his wife and say, babe, I'd love to see a little more shoulder once in a while? If that's the problem, what was he looking for over here that he was not able to get over here at home?
Does it come down to communication though? Don't you think?
One is communication. Two, I think is also that thing of putting out more than you actually are, right? I think we kind of spoke about it in one of our videos where you're showing the world this Velma, but you're really this Velma. Right?
But this is your wife.
Sis, I don't know. If the man of God does not even... So this is the thing for me, right? And I've had my crazy days in my youth and all that. But I think even at this point in my life, if I ever get frustrated and think about it, my first thing is, because I'm a Christian, is that covenant with God as well.
Yeah.
Right? So where if I go and lay with another man, I'm not just cheating on my husband. I'm cheating on God because this is what I promised Jehovah.
Right? Yes.
Right? And if I do feel that it's no longer sufficient for me, then walk away, break the covenant, and then do what you want to do. So if this man stands and preaches to people every day, and he's able to keep a chick on the side, right? And if you one of those people like me that listen to blogs like Wendy Williams and they're talking about he still went, said goodbye, and had goodbye sex. So that's not a person who wanted to leave. That's a person who was caught. And I don't know. How many people is he preaching to? How many people are raising their hands in the pulpit and saying hallelujah to what he's saying? How many men and women has he counseled and said, fight temptation, the Lord is with you?
And exactly that, and it comes back to that, what we were talking about, sex being seen by Christians as something that you should not be talking about, you should not be advising people about, you should not be exploring things.
But maybe let's be honest and say, Velma, once in a while, you will be tempted to look at a man that's not your husband, right? Yeah. So what will happen? So the reality of it is, if you find yourself in this situation, deal with it this way. Let's not act like it will never happen. There's always gonna be beautiful girls, beautiful men. I mean, love my behind, but trust me, sis, there's way bigger behinds on this earth than mine. So are we gonna pretend he'll never look at a behind, or are we gonna say, listen, if you're faced with a temptation of a behind,
but it's a pretense, like you said, it's a pretense that we are beyond, we are above the temptations, and we are above, like, we are human beings.
We are. And temptation there's no religion that supersedes the other in terms of temptation. We're all, like you said, human beings first. So no matter who you worship, temptation will come your way. How you deal with it is a personal choice. But don't pretend like you will never feel, because I'm married and I pray to the Lord. Come now, even Jesus was tempted. Y'all know Mary Magdalene washed that man's feet with some perfume or whatever. But he didn't take the bait, okay?
That's right.
That's the difference.
And that's the key.
The sex should last as long as you and your partner want it to last. Forget the movies, forget the books, the romantic novels we read in high school, forget all of that. Get your person their and listen. Enjoy yourself. Leave us some comments and let us know anything that you want to tell us about how long your sex is lasting, okay? And don't forget to subscribe to the More That From Mamas. Bye.